Give me a little.
Take those off now. All right, so welcome y'all to this week's episode of Ducking Reality. In the pond with me today is my friend Tu.
Hi, all.
Hi, Tu. Well, cheers and welcome to the pond.
Cheers.
So I was told that I needed to talk to you because you have a really interesting escape story.
I do have a very interesting escape story. I didn't grow up here. I know I'm a California girl.
You are.
To everybody. I speak like a Californian. But I actually was born in Vietnam. And my parents left. I don't even know when they left. I think I was probably 2.5. Maybe. No, wait a minute. My brother was a baby, so I was 3. Okay. Or around there, aroundish. Because he was born in July and I was born in November. And so my dad Vietnam was communist during that time. It was in the early 80s. And my brother was born in 80. And I'm 77. I'm aging myself right now. But I was a toddler, and my dad had already attempted to leave a few times. Yeah, without us. Because he was like, "Oh, we can't stay here. There's more opportunities going to America and choices and education and better, all that stuff, right?" And actually, we were pretty decent in Vietnam. My dad had land. He worked the land. He was a farmer. And but the thing is, there's not very much opportunity there to grow, and to get yourself out of the class that you're in, right? And so when my grandmother got sick and I got sick, he had to sell off a lot of things because there was not good health care there. So you were only able to take care of yourself or go to the hospital if you can afford it. Right. And so after I think I got sick, he was very very adamant in trying to leave. So, but every single time he tried to leave, he got caught. Right. So my mom was like, "Well, you got caught because you didn't take us. So maybe next time you should take us," kind of
right,
situation. Yeah. Right. And so the last time was that we went, it was not just my family. It was my dad, his brother, a few of his brothers. My eldest uncle, my dad has, in my dad's family, there were 10 kids. Oh, wow. And then, but 4 boys. So six girls and 4 boys. And then on my mom's side, there's a big family too. So I'm going to say 6 uncles and then an aunt. And my mom was the eldest. And my dad was he was the 7th child. And so there were more, right? Yeah. And so we already had one of our uncles here on my dad's side. And so the youngest had come here a few years earlier in the late 70s. And then my dad tried a few times, got caught, got sent to jail. Then
I was going to ask what happens when you get caught.
You get detained and get sent to jail, and you're and jail there is not like here where they would feed you and stuff like that. People have to come and give you food.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not like you have a free meal and it's nice and stuff. Well, I mean nice, but like you have like shelter and whatever. So
it's really the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's very bare minimum. And so, so they finally decided to go. It took a lot of planning. There was a lot of people actually, and we left in the middle of the night, or what I thought was the middle of the night. I don't remember any of this. I hear this secondhand from my cousins who were older, and I was actually on one of my uncle's shoulders, wading through the brooks and stuff to get to my dad's friend's boat that will take us out of Vietnam. And it was probably like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And my brother was being held by somebody else. One of our other uncles, I think. And we were all wading through. And it was my family, which was my mom, my dad, me, and my brother. My dad's older brother, but he didn't tell his family that he was leaving. He just like
Wow.
he kept it, and he had a big family too. So when they woke up and he was gone, they were,
Had no idea.
they were like, oh my God, everybody's gone. And they were just shocked, right? And I only knew how they felt when I went to visit them after when I was 19. And then my other uncle, who is the second eldest brother, he brought him and his wife and 5 kids
Oh, wow.
with them. And then and they had one on the way. Like, what? Yeah, one. My cousin was born. I'm gonna say she was born in the Philippines, like my sister was born in the Philippines. And so we got on the boat. Was able to get in the boat, and I thought it was like a game or something, or like, oh my God, everybody's like having we're gonna go to a party or something like that. So I kept on giggling the whole time, and everybody was like, oh my God, shh, shh, don't say it, because it's
You're with your family, like, on
the
an
VC
adventure.
the VC are out like looking for people all the time, because you're not supposed to leave. It's illegal to leave the country like that. And so we finally make it to the boat. And when we got to the boat, we sailed off, and finally, I think we got to Thailand first, and then got our paperwork and stuff done, and then we got sent to Malaysia, a camp in Malaysia. And then from Malaysia, we got sent to a camp in the Philippines. And from there, we stayed in the Philippines and waited for somebody to sponsor us over. So that's when my youngest uncle, sponsored everybody over, or like contacted somebody to sponsor us over. But during that whole trip, we got hit by pirates. So everybody lost everything. So the only thing that we had was on our backs. So we only had like the clothes on our backs.
Right.
Once we got hit by pirates. I think my dad said we got hit by pirates at least twice. And then, when you go to a different country in the camps, you try to survive. So when we're in the Philippines in the camps, we had to go and they like set up school for the kids. So when you go to school, you bring your little the straw mats. You know how you have the straw mats that are rolled up here in the beach? So we had like those little straw mats that we would bring to school to sit on. And the good thing about the school there was that, and it was only like probably an hour or two of school, but the good thing was that they would give us food. And the food is like this little sweet dessert. And we would be so like, so happy and ecstatic because it was sweet, something sweet, right? Kids and their dessert tummies.
Right.
And so that's what we did in the Philippines. And so my brother, actually, he's and we still call him that this nickname. We all have nicknames except for me. I don't know what my nickname is, but everybody had nicknames. So because like in Vietnamese culture, they think if they give you a nickname, it'll be easier to raise you. Like to kind of like keep you alive, because if you like pass away or something like that, it'll be harder for them emotionally, I think. So usually like Vietnamese people, they have like this funny nickname that they always give the kids. And my little brother, he didn't actually have pants for a while.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so he only had like a shirt. And so one time I saw him without pants, and I was like, oh my God, his dick is black, right? And so in Vietnamese, that's what we called him, cu đen. Cu is like dick, and then đen is black, right? But now we just call him đen. Because, I mean, he's like me. Like, we get dark really easily anyways. Like, we go out in the sun for 5 minutes and we get super dark. And so so that was his nickname for a while. So that was, like we were super poor. And then when we came to America, we actually landed in Escondido. Okay. In San Diego area. So in Escondido, San Diego area. And then my dad was like, I don't want to stay around here around a bunch of like gossipy Vietnamese people. So he actually went and we moved around a lot in California. But before that, like still in like the Philippines, there was a lot of things that we had to go through. Even like there was a lot of racism between the Filipinos and, the refugees and stuff. And my mom would have like in the front of the place that we were assigned in, she would have a little garden. Like the food would get stolen all the time, our garden. And then my dad would go out and do fishing. But fishermen are very territorial there. So like there was a time where he got roped up and stuff and brought it home because they didn't want him fishing in their area. Yeah. And so the Philippines, my sister was born there and she was only a month old when we got the notification that we were leaving to America. But before you leave, you have to do a health check. And my sister was sick during that time. So my parents actually borrowed a baby to do the health check.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they actually borrowed a baby to do the health check so that they were able to go because they're like, oh, we gotta meet this deadline, and all Asian babies look alike, so I don't know.
Racism working.
Yes, exactly. And so they borrowed a baby to do the health check, and that's how we passed, and we're able to go. Wow. And we flew from the Philippines, had a connecting flight in Hawaii. Remember my dad saying that was the first time we ever got on an escalator, and my mom was or an elevator, and my mom was super like nervous and anxious about it because she was like, "What the hell are these things?" Because coming from the country, you don't experience those things, right? Yeah. Now it's like it's like normal, but back then when you don't know anything but the countryside and village, it was very hard for her, a hard journey for her. So we ended up in Escondido. Then we moved to San Jose, where my the fourth child was born, my second sister. And we were like super poor. So we were on public assistance and food stamps and what's the milk one? The milk and
a SNAP?
No. What did they call it? I don't remember what they call it, but the one where they give you milk and cereal and cheese and stuff like that, not just the food, not the food stamps. Yeah, it was outside. WIC, yes, that one, and stuff, and my dad would work, try to find odd jobs on the side. So he would do like landscaping, or he would go and do gardening and whatever. And I'm sure they also were migrant, like the farmers and stuff.
Migrant workers.
Yeah, doing that. And we were in San Jose, and I remember him like taking me to kindergarten, and we finally like got a bike to go for him to take me to kindergarten, and it got stolen one time, and he was so upset. He was so upset that the bike was stolen. But my dad is he was like a jack of all trades. He was able to pick up things and just be able to, if he was able to go to college, I think he would have been an amazing engineer. But he would just pick things up and learn himself, right? Like even the handyman stuff and whatever. Like one time he saw me looking at instructions for use manual, and he just like took it from my hand and he like threw it out and he was like, "This is a bad habit." And I'm like, "What do you mean? This is an IKEA set. How am I supposed to do this?"
You need them, especially with
I know. He doesn't.
No.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need to do that. But I'm like, I need it.
Yeah.
I can't do this. This is backwards now. So yeah, that was my dad. He was everything was try to do it yourself, figure it out, and whatever. And I think that's why he thinks we're all stupid, because we can't figure it out ourselves. We have to consult the manual. But so that was San Jose was where we experienced a lot of the poverty. But but we only stayed there for probably less than a year, because my dad, one of the uncles that went with us, he was married to my sixth aunt, and he ended up finding but he left his family in Vietnam and left with himself by himself. But this is not the same uncle that I talked about. This is the brother-in-law. So he ended up hooking up with somebody during that whole journey, right? Somebody else during that whole journey, and forgetting his family, just like dropping his family in Vietnam. And my dad was so mad because, I mean, it was his sister, right? And he actually, and my dad knows like people from all walks of life, or he knew all people from all walks of life. And that's what he taught me. He's like, too, you should always know people from every walk of life. You don't know when you're going to need them. But he actually sent some people to threaten that uncle. And so after that, he was like, we got to get out of town. So
he's like, okay, now we got to get out of town.
Yeah. He's like, oh, America has this thing called law and stuff, and we can't do this. So he
the statute of limitations was all over.
So we left San Jose and then went down to San Bernardino, the Inland Empire, and that's where I grew up pretty much. So I went to elementary and middle school, high school there, and then I went to college at UCLA. Was very fortunate. College life was amazing and fun, and I wish I would have dated more, but I didn't have that mindset. Like, I wish I could have gotten my heart broken a little bit more, right? Like so that I had more like experience in that. But so there's only two things that I regretted in college: not dating more, and then the second one is I didn't go study abroad. So those are the two things that I regretted. But I think I made up for it afterwards. Life has a funny thing of making up for it.
It does.
Funny way of making up for it. So, and then after college, I didn't want to leave California. My parents had already moved to Massachusetts at that time, because San Bernardino was getting a little bit sketchy, and there were more like gangs and not very good influences around. And I had like my younger brothers and sisters, so my parents were afraid that they would get a bad influence. But they ended up moving to Springfield, Massachusetts, which is like which is and they lived in the ghetto for a while, which is worse, right? And so
and it's cold there.
Yeah, and it's cold and snow and whatever. They lasted there for a few years, and then they moved to Washington State, and so they ended up staying there. But I just stayed in California the whole time.
You just came and loved it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I couldn't deal with. I spent a few weeks in the winter in Massachusetts while I was in college, while they were there, and I was like, no, I can't do this.
I agree.
And when they were in Washington, I was like, I can't do this either. There's too much rain. And so, being able, for my work as a project manager, I was able to travel a lot to a lot of places. And California is a very special place with amazing weather, and you can't find it anywhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't like I love California.
Mm-hmm.
When I came out, I was like, I'll come out for a couple weeks and see how it is.
Yeah.
And then I never left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I leave to travel, but like, you know, and people have asked me if I would move somewhere else. I'm like, I don't know. I think I really like California.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I'd move somewhere else in California,
Mm-hmm.
but I would stay probably in Cali for.
Mm-hmm. And Alameda, especially,
Yeah.
is a very idyllic place, I believe, because you get so many choices and options in a very small area, and you're not in the city.
Right.
And it's a little bit slower. There's families around. It's safer. I mean, you're right next to Oakland, but I feel that I could walk around here at 3 o'clock in the morning versus, you know, where I used to live in Union City
Yeah.
and walking down the street, you know? And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have some crime here, but it doesn't feel like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel like when you're walking around Oakland at night,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or even at parts of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just feels different.
Yeah. I don't think I would ever be able to live in a concrete jungle like the city or any like big city like this. You know, I like being able to enjoy the nature. We kind of have nature here, sort of, right? We have the beach and we have the parks and whatnot, but yeah, just having to deal with that type of traffic,
Oh yeah.
like driving through San Francisco or driving through New York. Oh my God! Or you know, even when I went to visit my sister in Massachusetts, they live in the suburbs now, called in East Longmeadow, and it's super safe there, right? They do have like, you know, crime, a little bit of crime sprinkling here and there, but it's not like Springfield. And the park is just right around the corner, so we just like walk 2 blocks to the park, and feed the ducks. Or there's a dog park right there, and then a few block, you know, you walk a little bit more, and there's like a whole strip mall full of, you know, grocery stores and whatnot. So it's super convenient. So I think, you know, in the future that would be my life. Not like I'm not as I don't party as much as I used to, and I don't have the energy.
No.
No. Like I think once a year or once or twice a year, like do a weekend with my friends, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the days of partying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, recovering Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, and then, you know, doing that again, that's not me anymore.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
Yeah.
I was just traveling for work and for pleasure, but I was gone for like just over a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I came home and I was like, I tried to hit the ground running and
Mm-hmm.
like just, and I was like exhausted
Mm-hmm.
and like my brain was just like, what are you doing? Like, let us relax for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And my body was like, stop moving.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
definitely.
like, I'm just not 20 anymore.
No. But we could imagine it.
Yes,
We've lived it.
we did. So when you were like, when you, because you were basically in like refugee camps.
Mm-hmm. We're considered refugees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to Americans, we're considered immigrants, but, you know, to Vietnam, we're considered refugees because we left without permission. Yeah.
So, but you said you got to go back.
Yeah. Finally, I was able to go back when they were opening things up. I think when China was able to open up, that was when Vietnam was able to open up as well.
Did you have any reservations about coming back?
No, I didn't because I was naive, but there was a lot of kidnappings that were going on. People were getting their passports stolen or their residence card stolen, you know, their identification stolen and stuff like that. So when that trip to Vietnam was actually very eye-opening because I was able to get the other side of the story, right? Excuse me, from my cousins on the day that everybody left, because they were just shocked. They're like, "Oh my God, where is everybody?"
Right.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a wild thing when you wake up and half your family's gone.
Yeah, because we lived in a small town in on the Mekong Delta, and it was close to the beach, And there's a funny story about where I was born, where there was a guy who was very rich, rich man, and he was so rich that he would take money to burn to cook eggs because he was so rich because he wanted some eggs or he was hungry. So that was the funny story about that. But we where we were at, our family was off the road a little bit, and you had to walk through like somebody else's property to get to the back side where there's like a bunch of tributaries and stuff like that in the back. Okay. And in order to get to my grandmother's house, we actually had to take a little I'm gonna say canoe to get to one side and the next, because there's no bridge. There wasn't a bridge, right? And it was very interesting. Just it was a culture shock for me to go from America, where you had a bathroom inside and running water and whatever, to visit the countryside in Vietnam, because there was no bathroom inside. The bathroom was actually above the stream, like a little kind of sitting area above the stream. It was covered with like straw or whatever, right? Yeah, I mean, but you could see that there was somebody there. You had to like walk, go up a ladder, and then so you would poop or pee down, and then the fish would eat it. Oh, wow. Yeah, and then our cousins would live like a little bit further in a hut, like back a little bit more, and then there would be like little streams, so there would be a little board that you had to walk over. Yeah. And I had fallen off one of those boards and really hurt myself. So I was bleeding, and I was like, oh no, this sucks. And they're like, you can't walk around barefoot here because there's like parasites and whatever that could get on you. And there was farmland that they were farming, and they're like, oh, do you want to go out and water? I'm like, no.
I'll just stay in the hut.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay in the house. Actually, the house was a 2-bedroom house, but my grandmother had kind of like a studio, kind of like yours, where you have the studio here. So my grandmother's bed was out in the living room area, and then in one of the rooms was my youngest aunt's family who lived there, and in the other room I forget who lived there, but just cooking over like firewood instead of like a stove. And luckily they actually had a pump, so they would be able to pump water for for us to like wash ourselves. It wasn't even a shower.
No wonder you're okay camping.
We had to fill a tub.
Yeah.
There was like it was like not one of those porcelain tubs. It was like concrete, like slab tub thing, and we had to fill it with water, and it was so humid there that you had to pretty much rinse yourself twice every single day, because that's how I felt. But but yeah, it was an adventure every single day. We were there for a month, but my mom was super scared that I would get kidnapped, but so she would take me everywhere, and it was so boring. It was so boring because she's like, oh, don't you remember so and so? She's this, and she did this for you. I'm like, I was 2.
Right.
I don't remember anything.
Yeah, you're like, how much do you remember from being 2?
I know. I'm like, I was 2.5, and whatever. But it was good to see, all the places that she's experienced when she was there. I mean, my mom is a survivor. She actually was not from that region. She's from the central region, from a city called Hue, and that's where the old the last capital of Vietnam was, when they had kings and stuff like that. So the palace and stuff is there. But her place, or where my grandparents are. They lived in the countryside as well, but it's like white sand everywhere. It's really pretty. So there wasn't, my dad's place was like all muddy with like this red mud and don't ever wear freaking jeans. It rained the whole time and I had to wash my clothes by hand too. There was no and
washing machine.
yeah, there was no, and this was the 90 something, 92. No, wait a minute. No, it was 96 that we went. And so you had to wash your clothes with hands. I'm like, God damn it, I shouldn't have freaking brought jeans. Can we throw these away? But we did go and make clothes for me. Because the clothes they wear is different there from what we wear here at that time. So the country folk would wear these clothes that are like really thin, and it's easier to breathe in the humidity. But they look like pajamas, right? They look. I mean, they match, like the top and the bottom match, but they look like pajamas. So, but they only. And it's funny because I would look exactly Vietnamese. I mean, from Vietnam. But when I start walking or talking, then they're like, "Oh, you're not from here." Right. Yeah. And so I try to keep my mouth shut, but the minute I walk, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be.
My friend Pia, who's from the Philippines, says the same thing. Like, she's like, I look very Filipino, but when I go there, they all know that I'm not.
Yeah, I was only there for like a couple of days, and they're like, "Oh yeah, she's Vietnamese from Vietnam." And then when I start walking or talking, and it's a different kind of story.
Is it like a judgment that comes with it too?
There is a judgment, and there is a different treatment that they give you, or at least back then. Right. I don't know how it is now. I haven't been back.
Do you think it's because you got out and they didn't, or is it because where do you think it comes from? Is it just kind of the natural, like, oh, you're not one of us kind of things, or is it like more?
No, they just charge you more because they know that that you have more money, but everybody, I think everyone in Vietnam thinks that when you come to America, you would just like magically have all this money, but they don't know that it takes a lot of hard work to be able to sustain a lifestyle here, you know, because they only know that, oh, you have a bathroom in your place, but that's the norm here, right? It's not the norm there in the countryside. And so, you know, everybody has a car, everybody has this, and everybody has that. It's like, oh no, but we work our asses off to be able to do that, you know? Right. And it's funny because I've actually had conversations with people who've come here, and I'm like, oh, are you planning to stay? Are you gonna go home or whatever? And they're like, yeah, when I make my money, I'm gonna go back because this is too rough. Like, you know, living in America is just so much harder because you have to learn a new language. And that's super hard, right? You have to learn a new language, and just to be able to survive here takes a lot of money.
It does, yeah.
And even though like the exchange rate is better, if you go back to Vietnam, like you make money here and you go back to Vietnam, it's still, you have to sacrifice that time and effort to be able to make that money to go back. Right. So yeah, it was a culture shock.
Did your uncle that had left his whole family, did he ever like reconnect with them, or was it just like he just moved on like a whole new life?
That one, he did reconnect. He did reconnect with them, but he didn't like go back and be a family with them. You know, I think he sent money back and stuff like that, but he wasn't like going to bring them over. Like he didn't like make that effort because, you know, the plan usually is that, oh, one person is going to come over and then start bringing other people over, right? So that they could take care of their families. But yeah, he didn't do that. He ended up passing away from complications of diabetes.
I wonder if that's like the stress of that decision too. You know, like sometimes your body, like reacts differently to different kinds of stress.
Yeah.
Because that's such a decision that I can't even imagine having to make or making. Just being like, okay, well, peace out. I'm going to go make a great new life. And
Yeah. But I mean, he was the eldest boy, so I think there was like a little bit of entitlement.
Oh yeah, like I deserve to have a better.
Yeah.
I was the first. I should have a better life.
Yeah, but that was his attitude throughout his life, really. That, that somebody else needs to take care of me kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm doing this, I'm gonna take advantage of as many people as I can to be able to survive. But that uncle, yeah, I didn't like him very much.
I can see why.
He just like, usually he didn't treat us very well. So, but my parents were, we're old school. So they're like, oh, that's your uncle. You should at least say hi to him. I'm like, no.
Right.
Why?
Yeah. You raised me to be an American.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm like, I'm stuck in this, I have to be Vietnamese and, respect my elders and stuff like that. But he treats me like shit. So why am I supposed to
respect him?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a very interesting, journey coming from Vietnam as a toddler and being here. But I'm very appreciative. I'm really grateful, like, to be able to have public assistance. People say that my English is very good. I don't have an accent. I attribute that to Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, and all the fun things that the kids were able to watch, and just growing up in the 80s here in America and the 90s, and being Gen X and living through all the technological changes that we've had to live through. I mean, we grew up latchkey kids and whatever, right? And I think it's amazing how we survived. Now, like my sister with her kids, she doesn't even let her kids walk down the street without knowing, like, to catch the bus for school without having them tagged, right? Like, it's just amazing that we were able to survive. Like when we were here, I think I was in like second grade or something like that. And usually my dad and like my family and my uncle, my second eldest uncle, his family, we live probably like 2 blocks away from each other. It's usually like 2 blocks away. I don't know how it happened, but it's usually 2 blocks. So we were in San Bernardino, and it was probably summer because it was hot, and I would get bored. So I'm like, okay, Mom, I'm gonna walk to cousin's place, right? And so I would walk, and then I would get stopped by a cop, and then they're like, "Where are your parents?" And in Vietnam, nobody would think about that, right? Like, they wouldn't care. They were like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so's kid. They could go whatever, right? But yeah, and I remember him, Officer Robert. I remember his name too. And he's like, where are your parents? I'm like, oh, my parents are at home. And then he's like, why are you by yourself? I'm like, oh, I'm just walking to my cousin's place. They're just over there. And he's like, you're not supposed to be walking by yourself. I'm like, really? Okay, but can I still walk to my cousin's place?
Do you want to walk me then?
And he saw me again, and he's like, I told you the first time. It was super, super nice guy, but I was just like, but I could imagine like all the people getting kidnapped and all the things now. Yeah, my sister doesn't even let my nieces walk like half a block to catch their bus.
Yeah.
Where before we would walk like blocks and blocks just to catch the bus. Now the buses drop the kids off right in front of the door, right? Like
and the bus driver like watches them go.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were kids, we were taking the public transportation. They were like, get out of the house, come back later when it's dark out.
Yep.
And there was like no way to get in touch with us. You couldn't find us.
Yeah, there was no phones. There's no locators, nothing.
My brother was here a couple of months ago with his 2 kids,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in San Francisco, and we'd gone on out to Alcatraz, and then we went, to Ghirardelli and had an ice cream, and they were like sitting there bored, and he was like, I want to go get an Irish coffee. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, they can come with us because it's a restaurant in Buena Vista.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
Oh, yeah, they have like amazing Irish coffees
they
there.
do,
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, we're going somewhere else. And he's like, just go back to the hotel. Like, here's a hotel key. And I'm like staring at him. And they're 15 and 16, or 14 and 15 when they're here.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, we're in San Francisco. Like, you're just going to let them. He's like, it's 2 blocks. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, he's like, yeah, calm down. And like, he opened his phone and he's like,
But they're from Boston, right?
But they still don't. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
And they go like, probably the summer before I was home, they were walking down the street by themselves, and I called him and I was like, do you know your kids are on the street? And he's like, calm down, they're only going to the corner store. And I was like, but they're just by themselves out there in the world? Like, what kind of parent are you? It's like,
No.
you have to start giving them some freedom at some point. And I was like, no, you don't.
Well, 15 I would understand, but like now I think like the kids, my nephews and nieces now, I just think I'm like, you have no common sense, and you have no like street smarts. Like if you had common sense and street smarts, maybe I would let you go by yourself. But like, what in the world?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. They were so. I was just watching some guy who was like, he's putting out like memes of him telling his kids stuff. Like, and he was like, our punishment used to be to stay inside, and she's just looking at him, and she's like, what? And he's like when I got in trouble, my punishment would be I would have to stay inside, and she was like, why is that a punishment? And he's like, yeah, it would be punishment for me to send you outside, and she was just like, what would I do out there?
Exactly. It's true, because everybody's glued to their devices, right? And the kids now, I'm just like, okay, we are not having electronics. We're having a no electronics day. So you guys stay together. If you guys stay together in a group, then you could go outside, but don't go into anybody's houses.
Yeah.
Just stay in the yard, right? And whatever. And but yeah, it's just, I send them outside, but not too far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to start giving them some independence, or else they're never going to figure stuff out. But it's like, how do you give them the independence and keep them safe?
True. Like, especially since because I think it's because we have so much access to information so quickly, right? Everywhere. And then, but it's a double-edged sword, because the predators also have that access. Right. And the kids are naive. I mean, we're naive too. Like, there's been times where I almost fell for a scam. Right. And I'm like, what the hell? This sounds like a scam. I'm like calling my bank. I'm like, okay, there's something.
Like,
did you call me? They're like, no, we would not do that. I think that's a scam. Don't contact them ever again. Because, we sold some stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and, there's a scam where they would send you they would send you money through Venmo or whatever, right? But it's not really Venmo or really Zelle. And I'm just like, what the hell? This doesn't add up. I'm like, you scammer!
And it feels like
don't contact me.
The internet just made more scammers and more scammers.
Yeah, because you only need to get one person scam to get your money, right? Like, and people make a career out of it, like even like on the dating stuff. I was dating online for a little bit, and this was like a few years ago, but it felt like they had like the same script.
Oh yeah, it's like that. Yeah,
they're like, oh, do you want to get into Bitcoin, like, and stuff? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, well, then if you don't want to, then, I can't talk to you anymore. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it feels like it's a lot of bots.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, the first thing I asked are like, are you going to ask me about Bitcoin, or, trying to, invest in whatever? I'm like, I'm not interested. So can you just move on to another person?
Yeah. Dating, online dating sucks, but like in person is almost impossible.
In person is almost impossible.
Like, where do you meet people? How do you like? And I'm out a lot, and I just like, Someone told me I was unapproachable the other day.
Huh?
And I was like, I'm unapproachable?
You're unapproachable?
And he was like, yeah. He's like, you're always like with all your friends and you're just this
Oh.
and you're that. And I'm like,
Well, maybe
that's not unapproachable. That's just
maybe you should.
entertain.
No, but it's not your job for you to, you know, reaffirm that he's a man, right? Like, it's not your job for you to build his confidence up to approach you on a situation. And I was
just like, well, if you can't even you feel like you can't even come by and say hi, then like you're not going to fit into my life at all.
Exactly.
Like,
agree.
You're going to be overwhelmed by the way my life is right now.
Don't dim your life to satisfy other people's.
Oh, I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm still like learning how to not do it and to be comfortable like being seen and being kind of bright and shiny. It's still a place where I'm like getting more comfortable. And like it's hard.
It is hard. But you know, just look at it at the alternative though.
Yeah, like the alternative, I probably would have killed myself if I had stayed in that. Like, and that's not like being hyperbolic or anything. Like I was super depressed and super just miserable in my life, and like couldn't feel like I couldn't be me. But then it's like I don't even know who I was to be me. Like, and when I think about where my life was, you know, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I'm like, I don't even remember what that life feels like. Like, and I wonder sometimes if it's like for people like that have changed their life so drastically, like your dad, like after a few years, did he even remember what it was like being back in Vietnam? And
they always wanted to go back for retirement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they would always. So my parents split up. I'm gonna say about 7 or 8 years before he passed away. But before then they had a business. They had like a landscaping business in Washington, and they had this timed really right. Like they only worked like 9 months out of the year, and then the rest of the time they were peace out. I'm going to Vietnam.
Oh, okay.
Kind of situation, and that was perfect for them because hey, I'm gonna make all this money and then I'm gonna spend it. Right. And so that worked out really well for them for a while.
Well, and it's kind of like it's almost like they didn't really want to leave Vietnam, but because they had kids that they wanted to have a better life and there wasn't opportunities, they left, but they had the kind of the best of both worlds being able to go back.
Yeah. And in Vietnam it's like slower. It's like Alameda. It's like where you go down the street and, you know, you meet all your friends and stuff like that. Right. And everybody's close by and everybody knows your name and whatnot. And you could go to wherever and have coffee or go and enjoy your like chess games or, you know, trivia or whatnot. So that's how Vietnam is. Like you go, there's like a very big community. Everybody knows everything about you. Right. And that's how Alameda is, pretty much. Right? You go, you're here and everybody knows everything about you. Yeah. I don't leave my house and the only people that know that I'm moving are like a certain amount of people, and all of a sudden like the whole island knows. Like my neighbor who I haven't seen for like a year or two, they're like, "Oh, you're moving, right?" I'm like, "What in the world?"
I was going to ask you about that. I heard that too, and I was like, "What do you mean she's leaving?"
I'm moving because of my work schedule, and I need to be in the East Coast to be able to accommodate a better work-life balance for me, because I'm having a really difficult time waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to run meetings, right? And just keeping that schedule. I'm so tired all the time. And I don't know how to make myself focus to be able to accommodate like living in California. And really, I feel like even though I make a lot of money, I don't make enough to live in California.
Right.
Like
it's expensive here.
You know, to buy a place and to whatever. Yeah. So, but my dream, like my retirement dream, is to actually start like kind of like a tiny home village. So to rent out or whatever, right? But it used to be like being a florist, but now I'm just like, forget that. I could do like a kind of like a bed and breakfast, tiny home village kind of situation.
There you go. I love that idea. Wait, so do you garden a lot? Is that where the florist comes in?
I used to love flowers and making floral arrangements and stuff, but I've not done that in a long time. And I don't think it's that relaxing for a retirement kind of situation. So be like having a bed and breakfast and having staff do the rest of the things for me, right?
Right.
Because I'm just imagining like weddings and all that stuff, right? For floral arrangements. Yeah, I can't do that.
But you could just take your project management skills and run a B&B really easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're so used to having organized and have people do what you want them to do and get it done on time.
Well, you have to coax them a little bit, but
I thought you were getting them to do what you want them to do.
I'm like,
eventually.
okay, who's gonna do this? Because it's not gonna be me.
So when are you moving on to the East Coast? Will you share that with us?
I will. So I work for Abbott in the Rapid Diagnostics Division. So we make like these medical devices that you could get your health numbers. So usually to monitor if you're going to get chronic health or not, right? Like cardiovascular disease or flu or pregnancy, stuff like that. So little devices that goes into the doctor's offices usually, or screening events. And my company was like, oh, well, you need to be close to an office. So there's only like 3 different locations that I could choose from. One is Scarborough, Maine. Absolutely beautiful. I recommend it to people who could deal with the snow. The food there is amazing, you guys. Like the restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god, it's so good. And then like Portland, Maine is right next to it. So there's cobblestone roads and just absolutely
Very ideal.
Yes.
Very New England.
Yes.
Like
it's
picturesque.
I really enjoy every single trip that I take over there. Because I can't get enough of the food and the people there are really nice too. But I can't deal with the snow. So that's out. The second location is down in Orlando, Florida. And I can't deal with the humidity, and Orlando, Florida is some kind of different vibe.
Yeah, Florida, it's wholesale. Even like the Keys, I think Florida itself is just like a weird.
Yeah, it's like a different kind of vibe, but like just the humidity alone, I'm just like, right?
The humidity and the bugs for me.
Yeah.
They have really big bugs.
And so the
location?
Yeah, so the last location is Charlottesville, Virginia.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a college town. Looks super cute. There is a Trader Joe's there. It's actually in the mountains, like an hour west of Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
So it's not too close to the water, but there's like lakes and streams and whatever around. I'm a Scorpio, so I need to be by the water somewhere. I can't be landlocked. And everyone's like, oh, well, you could go, try to go to Chicago because we have, our main office is in the Chicago area. And I'm like, no to that.
That's a lot of snow and very cold.
Yes.
It's way colder and snowier than Maine.
Like, I visited Chicago. I mean, that's a beautiful city and whatever, but I can't do that. But Virginia, I think it snows there too because we're close to the mountains and whatever. But I think I'm splitting the difference between the 3,
right?
And the time zones because most of my projects are in Norway or in California. So in the middle, I need to be in the middle somewhere.
Right. Yeah, because to have your schedule be up, so you're up for Norway time. From being in California is what's that? An 8-hour difference?
Yeah. Sometimes 9.
Yeah.
Sometimes 7. Depends on the daylight savings and stuff. But yeah, I've actually had this schedule for probably 5 years now, and I'm just so tired all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. and I can't go out with my friends anymore during the weekdays. Cause I'm like, I got a meeting. I gotta go to sleep. I can't do this. So everything is a no now. So, the only time I get to see them is on the weekends. But on the weekends, I'm like, I'm so tired.
Oh, you're so tired from
I just
your
want to,
week of...
I just want to take a nap. I'm just old.
You're not that old. And how did you... So we went camping for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Or you took me camping for the first time.
I took you camping for the first time last year.
And it was amazing. And we went to a camp out. And
Mm-hmm.
so have you... And you've been to the burn... So, because that has to be even a bigger culture shock. Like,
the burn was... The first time I went to Burning Man was... I was absolutely amazed. As a project manager, just the logistics alone to build up a city in the middle of the desert, I was just absolutely amazed. And it was even now I'm still amazed. I still remember all the feelings that happened when I went. So the first year I went, my friend Mike had an RV, like a little RV that he usually takes. And he's been like 20-something years now. But we went and we got there like probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when we finally got there. And the first thing we did was walk around, and it was early, man. So we got there early to be able to build up the village and the campsite and stuff like that. And so we got there, and there was like really nothing except for some of the structures were getting built because they get built a little bit earlier. The temple was being built. The man was getting like its last stuff getting built, but the layout of the city was already there, like the street signs and stuff. It was just kind of empty because no one was there in the camps and stuff. So it was our job to put our fences up so that they know that this is our village and our camp. And so Mike and I, we popped some beers and walked around. So that's one of his rituals that he does. We were walking around, and then we get to this airplane, like half of this airplane that was there. And we're like, oh, let's go check this out. And then there were like some people on the top of this airplane, right? I didn't realize how tall, like how far up this airplane was. There were people on top of this airplane, and we're like, hey, how's it going? Can we come up? Right? And they're like, yeah, come up. And so Mike and I climbed up the airplane through the cockpit and then through the window of the airplane and up to sit on the top. And I think I'm a little bit of afraid of heights, because when I sat on that top of the airplane and looked down, right, and there's like no guards. Right. It was in the middle of the night, and I'm like looking down, and I'm like, oh shit. Hopefully I don't slide down on this. But I could feel, like, even now, the tips of my fingers and my toes tingling.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, hopefully I don't slide down on this stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have a few sips of the beer, and then I'm going to have to climb down back through this window. So that's what I did. But before then, we were chatting with the people that were on the top of the airplane too, and we thought that they were the crew of the airplane, the people who were supposed to be responsible for the airplane. But they weren't. No. They were the people in the recycling camp. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm such a rule follower, right? I'm like, oh no, we're not supposed to be here. And then I think a security car or something like that came up, and they're like, you're not supposed to be there. I'm like, oh shit, we're not supposed to be here. But the rule is that safety third, because safety is first and second and third, right there. And you just go, and when you're in Burning Man, my friend put it best, is that whatever you're looking for, you will find there, right? It's not an art festival, it's not a music festival, it's not anything specific. It's just an experience. Right. And if you're looking for, to stay on a schedule, they have a book right, of all the things that are happening. But yeah, you just take that book and you kind of look through it and then you throw it out the door because you're gonna just keep your eyes open to experiences. Because you're going to be like, oh, this is happening. And then you're going to want to go to do this thing. And then you're going to want to do this thing. And you're like, oh my God, they built like, you know, a New Orleans thing on that side. Let's go over there. Oh, they're having a thing. And like, and then you have a plan in your head and you meet people and you go hang out. And then that plan just kind of dissolves. Yeah. And it's the biggest party that's happening all the time. So you have to take care of yourself and make sure that you have water, you have vitamins, you have, you know, all the electrolytes, and you get some rest because the party's always going to happen and you're going to miss something. Right. And if you have FOMO, you're screwed, right? So, you know, me, I'm just like, okay, it's 2:00 in the morning, it's 3:00 in the morning, it's getting cold, my body's shutting down, I'm going to go lay down, right? Instead of people who are just like out, you know. And then there's also the environmental effect of it because it's not about just the mental stuff where you're trying to figure out where you're going to go, when, with who, because you're going to want to hang out with this person, but they're going to want to do this. And then another person that you want to hang out with is going to want to do this. And you have to choose. And there's so many choices, there's so many options. And then there's the weather, because there is the heat during the day and the night. It changes. It doesn't matter. And then there are the dust storms that get, okay, you could like actually see something. And then there are whiteouts where you could see like maybe 5%. And then there are brownouts where you can't see diddly squat. And, you know, but they make this area in the desert just light up. Like it's a city of lights. It's amazing. And the camps actually, they don't stay in one place. Like Burning Man actually moves them. The Burning Man org moves them around depending on, you know, what they want to increase. And then there's also like the deep playa where you go out, and the art cars are playing out there. And the art cars, depending on where they're from, are amazing because they are mobile clubs. So they have like all the lights and the sound systems, and you just go and follow them, and you just hop on them and you hop off, go to another one, hop on and hop off, and listen to music and meet new people. And there are hugs all the time. So you can I think my first time there. Okay.
Do you want me to pour you some more champagne?
Sure. My God, I love your laundry hamper thingy.
Oh, thank you. I got it at Home Goods.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
It was like $35.
Okay.
I love it.
I love the wheelie thing because, you know, as an apartment living person, you know how it is.
Yeah, I got it because my old place, my laundry was across like the courtyard from you. And it, like carrying my laundry basket over there was always like just a pain in the ass. Because with my back stuff, I can't lift a lot.
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
Yeah, I love being able to live in this time.
I feel very lucky. I always say I wish I was like maybe 10 years older. During 20. Because I think I really would have liked the 70s.
Oh, to experience the 70s?
Yeah.
That was an interesting time as well. To grow up as a kid in the 70s or grow up as a teenager college person in the 70s?
I think I would have wanted to be like in my late teens, early 20s.
Oh yeah, I think that would be an idyllic time.
Yeah. But you were just saying about the first time at the burn about hugs.
Oh, there are hugs. People give hugs just freely there. And I think it's absolutely amazing just to wake up and just get a hug.
Yeah.
You know, I really miss that actually, to be able to, you know, wake up and somebody just hugs you like a big, you know, bear hug without
heartfelt.
Yeah, and heartfelt, and not with like no sexual intentions, you know, like just like because they want to hug you.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel when I'm staying with my sister, because the 5-year-old always wants to give me a hug, right? And she's like, "Can I have a hug?" I'm like, "Yes, come up here."
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big hugger. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love still bartending. Because all my friends and regulars come in and they'll be like, "Can I have a hug?" I'm like, "Yes, you can." Like, to the point where one night, like 3 people were leaving, and so I was giving them all hugs, and this random guy who I don't know came over and was like, "Do I get one?" And I was like, "I don't know you." And then I was like, "But sure." Like,
yeah.
Like, you probably need one.
Yeah. But that's how it is there at Burning Man. They have, like, you know, people will set up hug stands and stuff, and all the art. There, you have to, they're a different experience depending on the time of day and who you're with, like how you're feeling, right? They have amazing art, artists and art that is up, and the ones that are made with wood usually are burned. So sometimes they're not, but usually the ones that are made with wood, they get burned. So you only get to appreciate it when you're there.
Right.
So the thing with the burn is that it also taught me that everything is temporary, and and if you want to appreciate it, then appreciate it then and there,
Right.
because you probably won't be able to see it again. And that's with people and interactions there too. Like, you'll meet people and you might not see them again ever. And there was this art piece, like, it was in the middle of the night, and I think it was like closer to Deep Playa, but everyone was under it because it was like this fire thing that came down, and it was super warm, and because it was super warm, it kind of stuck with me because it was super cold otherwise. Right. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so nice and warm." But it was like one of those things where when you're high on things and you see like all these bright lights and these amazing like visuals and whatever, you go to the next one, you go to the next one, you go to the next one. But I think the first night when the tickets opened and everybody was joining in, that night I was out, and I ended up like walking back by myself. And so I met up with this group of people, and they're like, "Oh, where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going back to my camp. I'm by myself, or I'm alone, or whatever," right? And the guy was like, "You're not," what did he say? "You're on this journey by yourself, but you're never alone." And that like kind of stuck with me for everything, right? Because you're always on a journey by yourself, but you're never alone.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. And so I'm like, "Huh, that works." And then, even when you're day to day, when you're meditating or thinking about something or hanging out with your friends and stuff, and you're out in the playa, like, you think of it and then it just appears. Like, it's usually like one day I was thinking about like ice cream or something like that, and all of a sudden like somebody with ice cream appears. I'm like, "What in the world is this magic that's happening in this place?"
Yeah, I haven't been yet, and one of my friends was like, "You have to go." She's like, "It'll change you," and she's like, "It changes everyone that goes."
It does.
And she's like, "And if you can go in just like you were saying earlier, if you can go in with no expectations and just open to the experience," she's like, "The playa will give you everything you need."
Yep. And
she's like, "Just go, be prepared, like have the things you need, but know like the playa will provide."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You'll always find what you need."
It's true, and there's so many places where you could be spiritual, or have a spiritual experience. Like when I went into the temple, like I'm very sensitive to energies. So when I went to the temple, it was just so heavy. Like there was so much heaviness in the temple because everybody goes there to to kind of take out their heart and leave it because of all the loss or the things they want to be grateful for. And people, just leave all that, whatever, is not working for them or, whatever they want to remember there. So when you walk into the temple, it's usually super heavy with energy. But yeah, it's and all the different art pieces, they feel different. And they feel and look different depending on what time of day it is. So in the day, you'll feel a certain way, but then at night you come back and it's absolutely different. And usually like the art pieces as well, you could play with them. So you could like run up them or climb on them or swing on them or
they're interactive.
Yeah, they're very interactive and they have to be, right? There was a boar one year and Mike and I were like walking around and he's like, I'm going to climb that. I'm like, all right, you do you. But so when he went and climbed it and like swung around on it, because it swung around like this, and I was taking pictures. It was fine, and then a few days later, they had stopped that feature to swing around because somebody had hurt themselves. Oh. Yeah, so it's usually like they'll build stuff for you to walk on, climb in, and whatever, and it's great. There was the last time we went, we were at a place and it was an art structure that had bridges. Okay. That were made with bridges, but you could climb, like there was I think 3 or 4 palm trees, I forgot, that were the stands, and then they had the bridges, but you could climb on top of those palm trees and get to the top. And there were drone shows. Oh wow. That were happening. So we had like 2 drone shows, one on each side. And then sometimes there are fireworks. But usually like when they burn the man on Saturday, it's they have like a huge fireworks show when they burn the man. So it's absolutely amazing. And then they burn the temple usually on Sundays. And then there are other burns like of artwork, like usually Friday, but there's no schedule, right? You just have to be there. Right. And that's kind of like frustrating for me because I'm like, I just need a schedule so that I know when to be awake.
With your scheduling and rule following.
I know. But there's no schedules and rules there. You get so dusty, like everything gets like the dust gets everywhere. And the first year I went, I had my hair was dyed, so it was like kind of blondish and whatever. I came back and my hairstyle was like, don't ever go to Burning Man ever again, because she was so she had to do so much work with my hair. I'm like, can we just chop it all off? But yeah, the second time, because I was like, the first time I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm good to go with just one experience. But then I went again the second time, and the second time was so much harder.
Really?
Yeah, because the weather was so much harder. Oh. It was super hot. There were whiteouts, there were brownouts. And I was like, I'm going to die.
Well, because I've heard some of the prep, like to bring your car or your RV, like you have to do all this work to it to protect it from the dust and like seal things. And,
yeah. Yeah, you could try to do that, but I feel like it's going to be everywhere anyways, Yeah. But, yeah, it's going to be anywhere. Like, I don't think you could protect your things from the dust. Like, that's the joke, right? You bring playa, like the playa is going to be everywhere. Like, I have a pair of boots that just have playa on them. And I'm just like, what am I going to do with these boots? But yeah, it's an absolute experience. I mean, there are things that you can do. Like, you could rinse your skin with like a vinegar, diluted vinegar, water and stuff like that, and make sure that you lotion up and whatnot. They have like these camps where you go and do like these foam saunas and stuff that really like clean you.
Yeah.
But we weren't able, or I wasn't able to hit up that camp. Um,
I would definitely find all of the sauna camps.
yeah, yeah. Um, there are like, and there's also like a quote unquote red light district
Oh.
area, right? And that's where we were at really on the second time that I was there. We were in the adult section.
You were making up for that not dating in college?
No, I did. But there was a, we were in that section where there were all the kinky stuff, like the orgy camp and whatever. I mean, I walked by them and then you could see like all the setup and whatever. But no, I didn't partake that time.
No, not that time.
Not that time. Because it was so hot. Like, I was just like, it's so hot.
That's the other thing too, like with the dating, especially in San Francisco, everybody is poly or kinky or like there's not, like when you go to Virginia, it's going to be very, or North Carolina.
No, Virginia. Yeah.
It's going to be very different dating.
I haven't dated in a while, so I think it'll be different anyways, but it's just, yeah, I'm not poly. I have friends who are poly. I have friends who are, do the swinging thing. I'm just like, I can't do that. I have my mental capacity. I can only deal with one person at a time.
Yeah.
Right. And if the other person wants to deal with other people, then I can't deal with that.
Right.
Because I have a little bit of a jealous streak. I'm just like, I can't deal with this. I don't want to. Right. I think that with all the stress that I have to go through work, I don't want to stress out in my personal life.
I get that.
And, but yeah, it's, and really, like, if I don't need to stress, I don't need to stress.
Yeah. I have like, not a jealous streak, but sometimes I have a like, well, why don't you want to hang out with me streak? Like,
yeah.
Like if I'm so much fun, why would you want to go hang out with them instead? Like where I'm not jealous, I'm just like, every once in a while, I'm like, but why don't you want to play with me? So like, I don't know if I would be, I mean, I think I'm open to the poly thing, but I've always been in traditional kind of relationships.
Yeah, no, because the whole poly thing, just to have to consider like another person's feelings, right? Like, because you have to consider your main person's feelings, and then you have to consider this other person's feeling. And if they're dating somebody, they have to consider this other person's feeling, and they're like telling you about it. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that, And
yeah, you do have to be very comfortable in yourself and in your relationships, I think.
Yeah, I'm not open to hearing the things that are outside of my world. That might make me selfish, right? But I just can't handle that much noise.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm just like, I just want something simple. I just want to be happy with the person that I'm with and them with me. And I already have a problem with communicating my emotions because I grew up with Asian parents who don't, right? And, for me to actually say that, oh, I love hugs and please hug me, like just to ask for that kind of affection is really, is a step forward from what I've experienced growing up, right? So, like, even my nieces, every single time, and nephews, every time I see them, I'm like, hug me! Like, I'm the aunt who's like, give me a kiss right now! And they're just like, ugh! And even my sister, I'm like, hug me back, because they're doing like the one arm thing. I'm like, what is this bullshit? But that's me. I love hugs and stuff, and but it's and when I do see like you or Donna or anybody, I'm just like, oh, give me a hug. I need a hug right now. Right? It's that hug is very I feel like it helps my soul.
Yeah. Well, as there's scientific research. It's like as humans, we need, I think it's like 7 hugs a day just to have like our our nervous system baseline be even.
Yeah.
And then I think it's like 12 or 13 hugs to then be like thriving.
Yeah. Oh wow,
So
that's
yeah, and most people
hmm
don't get 7 hugs in a week.
it's true. Like when I'm here in California, I don't really leave my house anymore. Like I just work from home and I'm like, ah, okay, maybe this is day 4. Maybe I should go get groceries and leave my house. And then when I see you guys and I'm like, ah, I get a hug.
Hmm.
And then Mike, I only see probably, and Mike and I are considered best friends, right? We only see each other every like 2 or 3 months. And then when we have like the hangout where we go to camp, like I, take advantage of that. I'm like, give me a hug. I do a hug
Yeah.
right now. So people are like, "Oh, are you and Mike together?" I'm like, "No, we just need
You're
the
like, I
hug.
just
I
need
just need the
cuddles.
hugs. Just give me the hugs."
I know. I'm like so excited about camp.
Yeah,
I'm,
and it's amazing. Because everybody hugs, right?
yeah.
And it's not like any malicious thing or any like anything beyond.
Right. It's just
Be
about like being
yeah,
excited to see each other
yeah, yeah,
and like wanting to give each other good vibes.
yeah,
Like yeah, it's not about like trying to fuck you or
yeah.
take
Exactly.
advantage of you. It's just like a share a moment.
Yeah, because I we've been to bars or you've worked at a bar or whatever, right? And people like come up like I'm so sometimes people just come up to me and start talking to me. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. I'm like, and I'll I'll talk to them their whole life story and everything, like, and I'll ask them questions because
Yeah.
I'm more of like I like to hear other people's life as well. It just amazes me how what they've been through and whatnot. And then sometimes people take that the wrong way, right?
Right.
And they're just like, "Oh, you're interested in me." I'm like, "No."
Like I'm curious but not
Yeah,
interested.
yeah. And so, when they get touchy, I'm like, "Ah, it's just gonna be let's just stop there." But so, I try to so now I only go to bars where I know my friends are the bartenders, right?
Yeah, we run interference for you, so
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to worry about it.
No, but you don't even have to run interference because at that point I already know everybody from the bar,
Yeah.
and nobody approaches me unless they know me, right? But when I go to work, do work trips and stuff like that, and my favorite, I've never been comfortable in staying in a hotel room by myself.
Oh, really?
Well, not like staying in the hotel room, but just like going from work to the hotel and just staying in the hotel room all night. Like
Okay.
that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that doesn't make me comfortable. So I would take my work and go to the bar and work at the bar
Mhm.
and have a drink, or and then my dinner, right? And then once I finish my work, I would do the crossword puzzle. And usually it's USA Today because the New York Times one is too hard.
Yeah, that one's really hard.
Yeah. So I would do the USA Today one to like kind of, quiet my brain down and stuff like that. And then, and it will lead to talking to people and stuff like that. And people are just like, "Oh, that's an opening. She wants to talk to us." So I'm like, "No, I want the answer to this thing."
Right.
But yeah, that's what I would do on my work trips. I would work like 12, 14 hours. And then, I would go to my room just to sleep because, that's what the room is for.
Right.
I don't want to hang out in my room. But, but then, you get to know a lot of people traveling. And then I would get to know the locals who would go there. And then, but yeah, it's, now with not traveling for work and like my work schedule, I just don't even go out anymore.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I'm moving to Virginia to hopefully find a better work-life balance.
Well, we will certainly miss you around here.
Yeah, I would miss you guys too. I'm just like, I'm gonna leave this place. This sucks.
Because you've been here for a long time now.
Yeah, I've been here. Well, I moved here after college, first, and then I moved down to the company that I was working at was in Hayward. So I moved to Hayward and then Union City, which is like right next to it. And then San Jose, and I really did not like that. And then I moved back up to Union City, and then Alameda. So I've been in Alameda probably 8 years
That's a good chunk of time.
now. But yeah, it's Alameda's an idyllic place. It's very, it's easy. You can find friends everywhere. You can find your cheers group, your cheers bar. The first place that I went to was the Fireside. And but in this past like year, I haven't been there probably a handful of times, right? Because of my work schedule. Yeah, and my work schedule. And then Donna only sees me like once every like few months too.
Right.
Because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm already on this side of the island, so I'll just stop by and hang out with Donna for the night over there when she's over at Eagles. But yeah, it's just a different life. Everything, our lives evolve.
Yeah, they do. And I think if you evolve with it, it makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And like if you are still open to the experience, like of what's to come, and you're not just holding on to like what you know. I think like people get into these ruts where like they don't do anything, and then they're like, well, but this is what I do, this is who I am, and it's like, no, that's like the season you were in, like, and that served you for some purpose for a while, but like go and expand and learn more and do more, go travel, or figure out what you want and go after it.
Absolutely. I think so too, because when I was thinking of moving, I'm like, it's gonna suck to move, but look at all the things that are going to be my opportunity, right? So I'm going to be able to go to Europe more now with a shorter trip and whatever. And then if I want to go to Asia or whatever, I could always stop by and see my friends for a little bit before I took the Asia trip, and then come back and see my friends for a little bit and then go home, right?
Yeah, and you'll always have places to stay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, who do I want to stay with this time?
Yeah, we'll actually be fighting over you. Yeah, she's staying with me. Yeah, she's staying with me. You can have her 2 nights and I'll take her 1 night.
I think that'll be great. But yeah, so I mean, I think it's just being able to have, or being able to have the courage to make that step, or being brave enough to make that step.
Yeah, and it does. But I like that what you said too, is because it's acknowledging it. Like, yeah, it's gonna suck at first, because everything always sucks at first.
Yeah, when I moved from LA to here, to the Bay Area, it sucks so bad. I was crying like the whole month. Like, I was like, why did I make this decision? Right? Like, what am I doing? What did I, and I was crying to my cousin. She's my best friend as well. And I'm just like, what am I doing to myself? And, but then after that, I got better, Yeah. And I think because I'm more seasoned, and because I was able to travel more and make it easier on myself to meet new people, interact with new people, that it's not going to be so bad, the next time. And that's the whole kind of, I should have dated more in college kind of situation. Like, every heartbreak is not going to hurt as much. Right? Because you're going to learn, and you're going to choose better, and you're going to learn, and you're going to choose better, and you're always going to level up.
Hopefully.
No, you're always going to level up.
Yeah, because you're always going in it from now experience.
Yeah.
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 I love that's a great way to look at it. That the more heartbreak you go through, the better you get at picking and choosing, and the less heartbreak you.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like a huge, like, oh my God. Like, I went from, hey, I want to just find that one person to spend the rest of my life with in college, to maybe that's not the way to go, right? Because, the growing up, like, I thought that my mom was like my dad was the only person that she was with, and that was not true, right? And so like breaking kind of like that Cinderella kind of mentality was the best for me. So, you know, just, but you don't want to like have to go through all these frogs, right? To find your prince. But sometimes you do. Sometimes but sometimes the prince is you.
Right.
Right? You don't have to find you just have to find somebody who will support you in the lifestyle that you want to have or that you do have, like who will add to that and add value to your life instead of, you know, you dimming yourself,
right,
you reducing yourself to a puddle of mud for them.
Yeah, like if I talk to anyone and they're like, whoa, like your schedule's crazy, like you work too much, I'm like, that's a flag already.
Yeah.
I don't work too much. I work what I like to work. And yeah, I work a lot of hours, but I do a lot of different things, and I am affording to have this life that I have. So how you feel about how much I work, like, isn't really...
It's not my problem.
Yeah, I like, if this is meant to be, I'll find and make time for you, if that's what you're worried about. But if you're just going to, like, blatant statement that my lifestyle isn't appropriate for what you want, like... Yeah. There's the door.
Yeah. Absolutely agree.
Like,
absolutely agree.
Work how much I want to, and
I feel like the response should be like, what can I do to get a piece of you? Right? Like, you know.
like, oh wow, your schedule is crazy. Are you going to be able to make time for me?
Yeah.
Or like, how do I get some of that time for you?
Yeah.
Like, that would be a sexy answer.
Yeah. Right?
I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Right? Like, oh, what can I do? Or, how can I, join you in something? Like, build a connection, right? Like, oh, if you're not going to put yourself out there to build a connection, then you are definitely not the person for me, instead of making these blatant statements of, oh, well, you're too busy. It's like, yeah, because you're not worth it. Right.
Yeah, like if I enjoy your time, I'm going to find time for you. Like, and some of my girlfriends are like, your schedule's so crazy, or how do you keep going? I'm like, because I want to do it all. Like, I didn't do anything for years after my injury. And so, like, I wanted to make up that time. Like, and I'm doing it, and I'm living, like, sometimes I'm exhausted and tired.
But you're living your best life, and that's amazing.
Like, and I love it, and I'm always like, I would like to find someone that I can come home to, but I also, like, don't need them. Which is like, I haven't had that headspace in a long time, I feel like. I think there was a long time that I was like, I need a person to help complete me. And then finally I was like, oh no, I don't need anyone to complete me, but I would like someone to bone me. And maybe make dinner sometime.
Yes. I absolutely agree.
Like, oh wait, you put my laundry in the dryer? Thank you.
I know.
Let's have sex. Like,
isn't that so crazy that our bar is so low that we would have sex with somebody who would do our laundry for us?
Even all of it. I'm just saying they put it in the dryer.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I would do the same thing because I hate laundry so much. It's just one of those, like, oh no, I gotta mentally prepare. I take at least a day or two to mentally prepare for myself to do laundry. So I absolutely understand.
Oh, I keep telling myself I will know I made it when when I'm actually paying someone to come clean my house and do my laundry once a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's when I know I will have made it. Like, that part of my chores, like, here's my grocery list, here's all my cleaning supplies, that's my laundry, I'll see you in 2 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah, I was dating a guy and he actually did laundry for me, and he hung up my
Delicates?
Well, no. I mean, I don't actually buy clothes that you have to put in the delicate cycle, because I'm like, that's a freaking waste of time. But he actually, like, hung up my shirts that he thought that were like silk or whatever, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I actually want to marry this guy, but I don't want to get married.
You're like, how about a blowjob? Does that work? Oh God, yeah.
I'm like, can I just keep you?
Do you want to live in my basement?
No, he owned his own house and everything. Oh, yeah. And I was just like, oh man, can I make this work? I'm like, no, I can't make this work.
I know a couple couples that have been together for years and years, but they don't live together.
Mm-hmm.
They spend like nights together at either place, but they don't live together.
Yeah, I mean,
And they've been together for like 20 something years, 25 years,
yeah,
30 years. Like,
and sometimes that works. You know, I think everybody's relationship is their own.
yeah. I don't like when people are judging other people's relationships. I'm like, why do you care? If you're not in it, like,
Yeah.
And it's like, no, is it making you uncomfortable because they're doing what works for them and it's not traditional? Or is it that you're jealous? Like, why do you keep wanting to talk about that person's relationship that you're not in?
Because they're interested in that person.
Oh, yeah, that's the other one.
Because, you know, they probably have like some kind of narrative in their minds about that person. But, you know, sometimes I do have those thoughts in my mind too when I hear about poly relationships. And I don't want to judge, right? But I'm just like, it's so much work.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
have friends that have like shared calendars and like have to make sure.
I know, that's so much work.
They spend even time with all of the partners and like then they have like meetings where all the people that are in the relationships come. So then it's like this person and their two boyfriends and that girl with her girlfriends and boyfriends and they all have like breakfasts and like talk about things and I'm like, that's just a lot of feelings.
That is. I usually don't even talk about my feelings. That's gonna, that would super rough for me. You know, I think like maybe growing up in the East Coast has the same kind of situation about growing up Asian, that we really don't talk about our feelings.
Yeah.
Right? And.
Oh, yeah, like we would make fun of each other for like, what are you having, a feeling?
Yeah.
No, nobody wants that. Nobody cares. We don't talk about that.
No, absolutely. Like there's very little. There's not very much time, or people that I talk about my feelings to.
Yeah.
You know, and even in relationships too. You know, the guys would be like, "You don't talk very much." I'm like, "Why?"
Yeah.
Why do you need? I'm because you know my love language, right? You know the 5 love languages. My love language is doing things for people.
Yeah.
So if I'm feeding you or whatever, I'm like, oh, do you want to eat? Like here, let me make this for you, and whatever. That means I love you, and you know, let me do this thing for you or do that thing for you, and so like. When I was dating somebody who needed to talk a lot, I'm like, oh gosh. And I recognized it like in the beginning, right? And he's like, you're very like stingy with your words. And I'm like, why do I need to talk so much?
And stingy just has like a connotation to it. Like,
yeah. Why do I need to talk so much? I already showed you that I'm loving you because I'm doing these things for you and I'm actually here.
Is it quality time too? Like, do you like to spend time with them or just?
I spend, yes, it's a mix. So I spend time with them. I you know, acts of service and quality time, right? But like gifts, no way. Like gifts make me like I think that if I have to give somebody a gift, like I hate Christmas. My family doesn't celebrate Christmas. I hate it. I hate it so much because I put a lot of thought in every gift that I give, right? So if I am forced and I feel like Christmas is forced on me to give somebody a gift because every kid there's 10 nephews and nieces. We only give gifts to the 10 nephews and nieces. Right. So I'm like, I'm not giving anybody jack shit because I can't do
Sometimes I think growing up poor, like I didn't grow up as impoverished as you did, but like sometimes I think growing up poor too is like gifts have a different connotation. Like there's this one, we didn't have a lot, so you didn't get a lot when we were kids, but like if someone gave you like a big gift, there was usually like huge strings attached to it.
Oh, okay. No, we, as far as our generation is concerned, because you know none of us are in my family are Catholic or Christian. That you know it's a religious thing.
Right.
It's more of a commercial thing.
Yeah.
And my sister, who was born here, she loves Christmas. And she'll start, decorating her house, even before Thanksgiving for Christmas stuff,
That should
right?
be illegal.
But it makes her happy.
Right.
Right? And I don't know why she does it, but it makes her happy, which is fine, right? But I hate Christmas. It's not because of the whole, like, I love the songs and all that stuff. It's just the gift giving. I'm like, why am I being forced to give you a gift that I don't even, which means I have to think about what to give you, which means I have to have a conversation. Like, I have to, figure out what you want, right? Like, I'm not just going to give you a gift card, right? And now I'm just resorting to, I'm not going to give anybody gifts during Christmas unless it's money. And even with their birthdays and stuff, I'm just going to give you money. That's all. And I even tell their parents, I'm like, look, you guys got a lot of toys all over the place, and I'm not going to contribute to that pollution. So, and so when Christmas comes around, I just have like this bah humbug kind of, situation going on. And people are like, you should, it's fine. Like, they know who I am. Right. So they're like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm just like, I feel like the Scrooge, but I'm going to give them money. It's just fine. So even like when I give people gifts for like birthdays and stuff, it takes a lot of energy out of me to be able to do that, because I actually have to think about it. I have to, call them like, hey, how's it going? And, and have these conversations, right, and try to figure out what they want. Right. But yeah, so usually like the only people that I really give gifts to are like 3 or 4 people, which are my cousins. And I'm like, okay, so what do you want me? Hey, do you want to go to the Korean spa? Let's do that.
That's a great gift.
You know what I mean? Like, just and Tanya, we're just like, okay, can I take you out to get like girl treatment? Like,
yeah, my brother and I stopped giving each other gifts years ago,
mm-hmm.
and we were like, let's just like go out for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go out, his wife and then my ex-husband, but like, or like,
mm-hmm.
just the 3 of us go out now.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes we'll do like dinner and a show. We'll just go to dinner.
Yeah.
We'll go just like dinner and drinks and just like spend some time together.
Yeah.
And then with his kids, like he was like, stop giving them gifts. Like, they don't need anything.
Yeah.
And so I did. I was like, I usually give them like a book and some money.
Yeah.
Like, here's a book that I think you might like, and here's $100 in it. Like, Merry
mm-hmm.
Christmas, Happy Birthday.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm just like, okay, what do you want for your birthday? Because, I'm not going to think about this anymore. Yeah. I don't have the mental capacity. Help your aunt out. Yeah. Help your aunt out. She's losing all of her brain cells.
Well, that, and like, I'm not there with them, and like they're both they're in Boston, so I'm like, I'm not there all the like mm-hmm. when they were little, I knew everything that they were doing and needed and wanted, and what shows they were watching. But now it's like I text with them once in a while, and I'm like, I get like 2-word answers if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I just get like a thumbs up. I'm like, okay, that doesn't answer my question at all. At least they responded.
No, it's true. The only time that I like really talk to them is when I'm actually there.
Yeah.
Right. And they text and they're like, oh, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing fine. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And then, which is fine. Cause they're in their teenage years now. And I'm like, well, at least I got all the hugs that I wanted to get.
Yeah. Like, I go home, they give me a great big hug. We say hi, we catch up a little, and then they go off to like their device or their TV. And
mm-hmm.
like, I'm like, this is why I was okay moving when I moved. Because mm-hmm. I'm like, they're getting into the age where they're not going to want to talk to me anyways. I might as well be 3,000 miles away.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, the 5-year-old is the only one that hangs out with me the whole time. I think it's because, she just wants me to take her places. But yeah, the ones that are older, they're just like, I'm going to be here in my own whatever. And I actually have to go bother them. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to go to the mall? And I hate going to the mall.
You're just finding things to do to keep them entertained and yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's, getting older, just like going through like everything. Because I don't think like my refugee years, luckily I was young enough to not remember,
Mm-hmm.
but old enough to be able to figure out what happened,
Right.
right? Like I don't remember the pain, all the pain and all the things that we had to go through. Just those were like fed back to me. Like I was fed back to me from memories since I was so young. But just going through that experience, I've met people who were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because the U.S. went into Vietnam and they did all these things just for the land
Right.
and rubber and natural resources and whatever. I'm like, it's not your fault, and I don't remember anything, right? Like, if me as a refugee growing up in America will have a different opinion from that kind of response than somebody who actually went through it in Vietnam.
Right.
Yeah.
And it must shape the way you see like everything that's going on right now, though. Or does it actually?
It does, because like when when Trump had gone through like his first presidency,
Yeah.
his first term happened, and all the things that happened with immigration that time happened, I was really upset. Like I was actually I was depressed for those 4 years because, how could this happen? America is built on immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a true, really American here unless you're Native American.
Right.
Right?
And look at the way we treated them.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, and then, all the intelligence, like all the IP that was brought to America are from immigrants.
Right.
So how can you say that, oh my God, we're taking your jobs or whatever, right? I'm like, do you even qualify for these jobs? Like, okay, sure, I'm taking your job, but do you qualify? Do you have this master's degree or whatever to be able to do this job? And it's very interesting, right? Like,
Yeah.
that kind of attitude. And even with like I was like all the jobs were like coal mining or whatever that it really should, like, I feel that there are other alternate jobs that could happen with energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of coal mining, which is like super, I feel like is super unsafe. Um, like the coal miners, we could get them and educate them in like a different field, right? Instead of keeping them in coal mining, instead of like burning out their lungs and whatnot. So it's, I don't know what the right answer is for reform,
Yeah.
for this mental reform that should happen, but it's, I feel sad because I have like this loyalty to the US, and it makes me sad that people who came to the US don't have this loyalty to be able to build our infrastructure, to be able to build our country to be better, instead of, oh, well, it's, I've been here, so I'm entitled to this. It's like, no, you're not entitled to anything unless you contribute to building a better place. Right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I mean, I grew up on welfare, on WIC, on food stamps, right? I make good money now. I pay my taxes. I'm like, just take my money.
Yep.
Just take my money. I don't care. Just take my money and do whatever you need to do with it. Because I am using the roads. I am using, even though I don't have any kids, I'm not married, I don't have any kids, but that education system worked for me.
Right.
I was in the public education system, and I was able to make a better life so that, I can contribute,
Right. Well, you are the American
you
dream.
know?
You know what I mean? Like you came here,
Hmm.
you were poor and kind of a woman of no country when you were a kid, but you escaped this country that probably you couldn't go right back to, right? Because what happens if you escape and then you go back? Do you have to go to jail?
I don't know. I don't know if when you get deported, what would happen, I think you would have to go back and then try to, re-identify yourself. Like you've lived here for however many years. That's what's happening right now. Like people
Right.
are getting deported.
So people are coming here with nothing and then getting deported back to their country and having the chance of whatever the legality of is getting sent home, but then they also have nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And if that's not going to breed like resentment towards our country, like other than worse or just as bad as all of the wars that we start, like I don't know how we're treating people like this.
I think it's about policy, right? Like it's all, shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
And when the whole separating the kids from their parents thing happened the first time, it really broke my heart. I'm just like, why would you do that?
Yeah, that's so traumatic.
Like that.
Everyone involved.
Yeah. Why would you do that? And then all the aftermath, right? Yeah. And they're just like, oh, well, they shouldn't have come here illegally. It's like, okay, so that two wrongs make a right? Like it just
Right. And like we don't give a good path to come here legally or make it easy. It's super expensive and time consuming, and the legality of it and it's like they make it almost impossible.
Unless you have a lot of money.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you can buy a Trump gold card and then you're a citizen automatically.
Right.
But what is that, $5 million or something?
I don't even know.
Like it just gets so crazy to me. Like
it does, but I think the reason why the US is so like everybody wants to come here is because we have the freedom of choice. We have the freedom of, being able to build a better life for ourselves. But we have to get here first.
Right.
Right. And, but the thing is, like, globally, there are countries that are getting better than us. And then globally, they're going to attract all the intellectuals.
It's just like your parents too. Like the people that have come here that wanted a better life, they'll build it. They'll contribute to this community for a long time, and then they might go back.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't that be a good thing?
Because that you could spin it both ways. They're like, oh, well, they're making money here, but they're taking the money that they're making here and sending it back to their country. That's like taking money out of our country. But the thing is, they're still part of our infrastructure.
Right. Like they already paid all their taxes for the time they were here. So then now they want to let them go and take that money and help those people in the community. And then there'll be other people that come here and do the same.
Yeah.
And then there would probably be more housing and it would be even more room and opportunities for people.
I think it's more of like making the people in the lower class fight against each other. Right. So that the people in the higher class are like, oh, well, we could keep them where they're supposed to be,
right,
fighting against each other and not us.
Right.
Kind of situation.
Yeah, because if the poor people are always fighting with each other, they're not, or they're too busy to worry about what the rich people are doing. It's like we need to change that and shift it and stop fighting amongst ourselves and like band together to like overthrow the rich people that are stealing from us. And it's crazy, like they're saying like 8 people own everything now.
Yeah, I could see it.
It's wild. But that's why we have to keep building community and like having places where we know people, and just like Alameda, where like you can know everybody and there's a great sense of community here and people help each other and are always like offering to do things for and with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where like we have to keep, if we keep doing that on like in our neighborhoods, eventually it'll grow and shift the narrative.
Yeah. I think like outside of being Republican or Democrat or, you know, independent or whatever, I think people are trying to build that community. Like even when you go to different towns and whatnot, like you wouldn't know who the Republicans or Democrats are unless they like put the flag on their
Truck.
on their truck or, you know, in front of their yard or whatever, right? Or in their window. But, you know, people are just decent people that just want to help each other out.
Right.
It's just about how much, like, in their minds, it's about the control issue. Like, they don't want to be controlled. Their actions don't want to be controlled. And sometimes, you know, they do want to lash out and be physical and whatever. But that's, you know, that's a lawless kind of situation. But it's what is playing in their psychology, right? Like, hey, this other person is willing to go out there and be physical and do his, you know, be violent because that's what I want to do to these insane people. And both sides are like, oh, you guys are insane. Like, this person's insane, that person's insane. But both sides are saying that to each other. But they're actually meaning well. Like when they, not meaning well as in the sense that, you know, they both want to fight each other. It's like, no, they want to build this community. But as far as how much control is happening here in the mind is different, right? Because the Democrats are like, hey, we want to build this infrastructure. We want to help all the people and we want to, you know, do the things without controlling people. But, you know, the other side has a different say in things, right? And there's like, oh, well, they need to do things themselves. And that's their, well, I don't want to control people. Like they need to take care of themselves kind of situation.
Right. Where if you can meet in the middle, it's where like things really get done.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we have these two parties, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, where do we meet in the middle? Like people are like yelling at each other, but it's just.
Yeah, everyone's yelling and nobody's listening.
It's a give and take. Yeah, it definitely is. I agree.
Well, I thank you so much for coming to sit down and talk to us. For me.
Well, thank you for listening to my long story.
No, it's great. I mean, it's fascinating and I think it's kind of timely too, because just hear someone's story that, you know, you were so young, but like your family got out, you are the American dream. You came here with nothing and you've built this beautiful life for yourself.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, my brothers and sisters, they all, you know, had families. There's only 2 people. So there's 7 of us in my family. There's only 2 of us that are single. Everybody else is married, have kids, or have, you know, bought homes. And yeah, it is definitely an American dream. And we all have like different different work that we do. And some of us went to college, some of us didn't go to college, but you know, that's the great thing about America is that you don't have to go to college to make yourself like build a better thing, a better, you know, life for yourself. You just have to have the ambition. Yeah. You know, you have to have the drive to make the better life for yourself. And you know, in Vietnam, if you were in the country, you didn't have that option. You didn't have the option to, if you had the drive to be able to, you know, make yourself better. Because the class system is there's such a huge gap between poor and rich, or poor and middle class.
Right. The caste systems still blow my mind.
Yeah.
I know that they low grade exist here,
mm-hmm.
but like to talk to people that have like really lived in them, and even some people that I've worked with here that are from caste systems places, like when they're someone from their country and they're in a different class, like they still have some of that here.
Yeah.
And it's such an unusual thing to kind of experience and watch. Like, I'm like, I just don't understand how, like, you could just say, like, that person, like, whoever they are, it doesn't matter because of where they were born.
Yeah.
I'm like, that just blows my mind.
It does blow my mind. And you know, when I feel or see that people are excluded for whatever reason, I get really upset. I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Just because they're not a manager doesn't mean that they don't need help in or mentoring in building their, you know, in building their work, right? Like their work life or you know, being able to advance in their business. So yeah, I definitely feel that way. But America's even now though, like I believe like America has a lot of opportunities and options that that you can take advantage of if you have the ambition.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'll
Thank you,
let go.
Siobhan.
Thank you too. And thank you for the fruit.
You're
What's
welcome.
it called again?
Mangosteen.
Mangosteen. It's delicious. If y'all haven't had any mangosteen, go find some. Probably gonna guess in your local Asian market.
Yeah. I got this at the local Jagalchi Korean store. It was $10 a pound.
Oh, nice. Well, it is delicious, so let's go finish that. And thank you all for listening. Go like and subscribe, follow us, check us out on Ducking Reality, and remember to find some joy today. We love you.
Bye.